feel like videoing again. So here we go. I just watched Phil DeFranco. I also just cut my nails, and now they're bothering me because there's a few rough edges. I need to buy a nail file. I used to have a problem with biting my nails, and then I got over biting my nails, and now I have to cut my nails, and it bothers me every time I cut my nails. Back to the main point. I watched Philip DeFranco's Monday show, and he brought up a video that he found very moving called If Money Was No Object. And immediately my brain is like, if money were no object, it drove me insane. But I moved past that, and I watched the video, and it's just kind of a speech about just the idea of when you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. If you decide that you have to pursue something that is lucrative or that you can sustain yourself with, you're going to end up kind of wasting your life away in pursuit of that. And it would be much better to, live for another year doing things that you enjoy than to live 30 years kind of grinding away. And that we have this sort of cultural problem of kind of sinking into doing something that you can make money at and teaching your kids to do the same thing. This is something that I've thought about, and to an extent I agree with. But I don't like that question, what if money were no object? Because people have asked me that when I was in high school and parts of college. And I'm sure for some people they have an answer. There are some people that, I would love to draw, I would love to travel the world, I would love to do this or that or the other thing, but I can't afford to do that, obviously, so I'm going into finance or whatever it is. I've never had an answer to that question. And I can't fathom ever having an answer to that question, because I feel like there's no... If someone asked me that right now, I'd have to say, well, if I suddenly had an infinite supply of money, I think I'd still keep my job. I like my job. I might cut down on the hours of my job. I might make it a little more flexible. I'd want to keep making videos, and I'd feel like, ooh, well, I can hire people to do this and that, and I can have a cameraman here all the time so I can do all the crazy shots that I can never do on my own, and I could get cooler equipment, but I don't have a project. I don't have something that's just waiting for the finances. There's not anything in my life that the only barrier to is money. And there's a quote from a wonderful film called Waking Life, which I think I'm going to talk about in tomorrow's video, where the character says there are two types of people in the world: those who suffer from a lack of life and those who suffer from an overabundance of it. And he says he thinks he falls into the latter category, and I think I fall into the latter I think I fall into the latter too. Because who knows? I mean, one week, maybe I just want to play video games all day. The next week, maybe I want to work on playing the piano. Maybe I want to spend tons and tons of time practicing and getting my finger dexterity back to where it used to be when I was younger. And, maybe I'd like to learn a new language. Maybe I would like to make a long film. Maybe I would like to seclude myself in a cabin for 6 months and try and write something amazing, a screenplay or a novel. But I don't know. And I don't know what the answers to that would be. And so when someone asks, what would you do if money were no object? Any number of things. But I can't tell you. I can't tell you immediately right now, if you gave me an infinite amount of money, this is what I would do with it. There are barriers beyond money. You have to take the time to really investigate it. And for me, that's not the sort of thing that I can just say, okay, well, I'll save up so I can take 6 months off, and I will know that when I'm done with that, I'll know exactly what it is that I want to do. The other thing that I find, and I think this is probably true of everybody, is that even if you knew exactly what it was that you wanted to do, and you had an infinite amount of money with which to do it, if you didn't have any sort of reason to do it, why? I mean, there are days, let's say you're working on a painting and you sit there and today is not going to be the best day for me to paint. I'm just going to go and watch TV all day, because tomorrow will be better. If you have an infinite amount of resources, there's nothing to stop you from saying, let me hold off on this and do something else because I know that some later point I can do this a little bit better. Having those constraints matters. Having to feed yourself matters, and it helps you flesh out an idea because you have those constraints to work with. It's great to think outside of the box, but you can't think outside or inside of the box without there being a box. I can't imagine what life would be like if I had an infinite amount of money because I'm terrified that I wouldn't do anything. Because even if I knew, even if I had all of these individual goals, all of these huge projects that I had fleshed out and knew I wanted to work on, I don't know that I would ever feel the overwhelming motivation to start because I'm not sure that I would ever know that I could do it perfectly. So, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on this. If you, I guess let me just pose the question back to you. If money were no object, what would you do? Bye.